Namaste everyone and welcome back to our channel. I am your Java programming teacher and today we are going to dive into a super important topic for building high-performance applications, Redis caching with Spring Boot. Have you ever wondered how big websites load so quickly, even with millions of users? Caching is often the secret sauce. In this 5-minute tutorial, we will learn what Redis caching is, why it is essential, and how to implement it step by step in your Spring Boot applications. We will cover enabling caching, using the cacheable annotation, and even look at a practical example. By the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of how to make your applications lightning fast. So, grab your virtual notebooks and let us begin this exciting journey. Alright, let us start by understanding the core idea behind caching. Imagine you have a website that frequently fetches the same data from a database. Each time a user requests that data, your application has to go to the database, which takes time and resources. This is where caching comes in. Caching stores frequently accessed data in a fast access layer, like Redis, so that subsequent requests for the same data can be served much quicker without hitting the main database. Think of it like a temporary storage locker for your data, much closer and faster to access than the main warehouse. Spring Boot makes implementing caching incredibly simple. The first step is to tell Spring that you want to use caching in your application. You do this by adding the @enable caching annotation to your main Spring Boot application class. This annotation is like flipping a switch that activates Spring's caching mechanism. Once enabled, Spring will then look for other caching-related annotations in your code. This foundational step is crucial for everything else to work. Without it, Spring will not know to manage your cache. So, remember @enable caching is your starting point. Now that we have enabled caching in our Spring Boot application, let us look at the most common annotation for caching @cacheable. This annotation is truly magical. When you place @cacheable on a method, Spring automatically intercepts calls to that method. The first time the method is called with a particular set of arguments, Spring will execute the method, store its return value in the cache, and then return the value to the caller. For all subsequent calls to that same method with the exact same arguments, Spring will not execute the method again. Instead, it will simply retrieve the result directly from the cache and return it. This saves a lot of processing time and reduces the load on your database or other backend services. The value attribute in @cacheable specifies the name of the cache where the data will be stored, for example, products. You can also specify a key to uniquely identify the cached item. So, @cacheable is your go-to annotation for methods whose results are expensive to compute or fetch and do not change frequently. Let us put our knowledge into practice with a simple Spring Boot application that uses Redis caching for a product service. Imagine we have a product service that fetches product details. Without caching, every request for a product would hit our database. With caching, we can significantly speed this up. First, you would need to include the Spring Boot starter data Redis dependency in your pom.xml file. Then, in your application.properties file, you would configure the Redis server host and port. For example, spring.redis.host is equal to localhost and spring.redis.port is equal to 6379. Next, in your product service class, you would annotate the method that fetches product details, say getProductByd with @cacheable, value is equal to products, key is equal to hash ID. Here products is the cache name and hash ID dynamically generates a cache key based on the method's ID parameter. This way, each product is cached uniquely. When you run this application, the first time you request a product, it will come from the database. But subsequent requests for the same product will be retrieved instantly from the Redis cache. This is a powerful demonstration of how simple it is to integrate Redis caching. While Redis caching is powerful, it is also easy to make a few common mistakes, especially as a beginner. Let us quickly go over some pitfalls and best practices. A common mistake is forgetting to add the @enable caching annotation to your main application class. Without it, Spring's caching mechanism simply will not activate, and your @cacheable annotations will be ignored. Another mistake is not considering cache eviction. What happens if your data changes? Your cache will hold stale data. For this, you can use @cacheEvict to remove items from the cache when the underlying data is updated or deleted. Also, it is important to choose meaningful cache names and keys. Using generic keys can lead to collisions or make debugging difficult. A best practice is to always define a clear cache strategy for your application: when to cache, what to cache, and when to evict. Think about the life cycle of your data. Remember, caching is a trade-off. It speeds up reads but adds complexity around data consistency. Always test your caching strategy thoroughly to ensure it works as expected and provides the performance benefits you are looking for. And there you have it, friends. In just 5 minutes, we have covered the essentials of Redis caching with Spring Boot. We learned that caching dramatically improves application performance by storing frequently accessed data in a fast-access layer like Redis. We saw how to enable caching using @enable caching and how to automatically cache method results with the magical @cacheable annotation. We also walked through a practical example of a cached product service and discussed important common mistakes and best practices to keep your caching robust and efficient. Remember, the key to mastering these concepts is practice. So, I encourage you to set up a Spring Boot project, integrate Redis, and experiment with these annotations yourself. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting Java programming tutorials. Your support means a lot to us. Keep coding, keep learning, and I will see you in the next video. Dhanyavad.